All the devils are here. All the devils are here. The hidden history of the financial crisis. Part 1. Introduction. Who committed the crime? Welcome back to the channel. Have you ever wondered how the entire global economy could collapse just because of houses in the American suburbs? Was it the greed of a few individuals, or was the system itself rotten from the inside out? The title of today's book, All the Devils Are Here by Bethany Mclean and Joe Nocera, is taken from a haunting line in Shakespeare's The Tempest. Hell is empty and all the devils are here. This isn't just a book about abstract numbers or dry economic theories. It is a story about people, the devils in expensive suits, ranging from the high-rise investment banks of Wall Street to the regulatory offices of Washington, D.C. These authors pull back the curtain on a hidden history, showing that the 2008 crisis wasn't an accident. It was an inevitable disaster fueled by a series of choices made by men who believed they were too smart to fail. Today, we dive into the dark heart of the financial world to see how the demons were unleashed. Part 2. The cast of characters. The architects of disaster. Every great tragedy has a cast of characters, and the 2008 crisis had a massive lineup of players who led the world to the brink. PMI's Angelo Mozilo, Countrywide Financial. Mozilo was the face of the American dream. With his signature orange tan and white teeth, he wanted to bring home ownership to every American. But that dream turned into a nightmare when he pushed Countrywide into the world of subprime loans, risky mortgages for people who couldn't afford them. He became a billionaire while his company became a factory for bad debt. 2. Roland Arnold, Ameriquest. If Mozilo was the face, Arnold was the pioneer. At Ameriquest, he turned the art of deceiving customers into an industrialized process. He found ways to manipulate loan documents and pressure borrowers, proving that if you could hide the risk, you could sell anything to Wall Street. 3. Joe Cassano, AIG Financial Products. This is the man who truly broke the system. Working from a small office in London, Cassano ran AIG's insurance division. He sold credit default swaps, basically insurance policies on those risky mortgages. Cassano believed that the risk of a mass default was zero. He was so confident that he bet the entire company's future on it, eventually driving AIG into a multi-billion-dollar hole when the market realized the houses were worthless. 4. Alan Greenspan and Ben Bernanke, the wizards of the Federal Reserve. These men held the keys to the economy. They shared a blind faith in the idea that markets could self-regulate. They watched the devils play with fire and did nothing, believing that the invisible hand of the market would put out the flames. By the time they realized the fire was a forest fire, it was already too late. Part 3. The financial weapons of mass destruction. To understand the crisis, you have to understand the weapons these devils used. The alchemy of CDOs. The authors describe the creation of collateralized debt obligations, CDOs, as a form of financial alchemy. It was like recycling trash into gold. Banks took thousands of rubbish mortgages and bundled them together. Then, rating agencies like Moody's and S&P, the supposed gatekeepers, gave these piles of garbage a AAA rating. They stamped them as safe as gold and sold them to pension funds and cities around the world. The showdown, Goldman Sachs versus AIG. One of the most dramatic segments in the book is the collateral call battle. As the housing market began to dip, Goldman Sachs grew suspicious. They demanded that Joe Cassano and AIG hand over billions of dollars in cash to cover their potential losses. Cassano was furious, believing Goldman's valuations were crazy. But Goldman was right. That single dispute exposed a hole in AIG's balance sheet worth over $11 billion. It was the moment the world realized the insurance was fake. The toxic metaphor. Think of the financial system like a glass of clean water. The authors suggest that the subprime loans were like a single strand of hair dipped in filth and then dropped into that glass. You might not see the toxin immediately, but the entire glass is now contaminated. By the time the hair was discovered, the poison had reached every corner of the global economy. Part 4. The tragic end, the collapse of empires. In September 2008, the dominoes finally began to fall. The death of Lehman Brothers. The fall of Lehman Brothers was the moment the devils lost control. The authors detail the desperate, sleepless nights of Treasury Secretary Hank Paulson as he tried to save the system. But the trust was gone. No bank would lend to another bank. The gears of global commerce simply ground to a halt. The human cost. While the book focuses on the CEOs, it never forgets the victims. As the empires collapsed, millions of ordinary people lost their homes. Families saw their life savings vanish in a weekend. Hard-working employees saw their retirement funds evaporate. The great injustice. Perhaps the most bitter pill to swallow is the ending. While the devils caused the crash, many walked away wealthy. Joe Cassano left AIG with a $34 million bonus and a consulting contract worth $1 million a month. The system was bailed out by taxpayers, but the moral hazard remained. The devils weren't punished. They were subsidized. Part 5. Review and the final lesson. All the Devils Are Here is a masterpiece of financial journalism. It doesn't blame one political party or one single theory. It exposes a systemic failure of human nature, the toxic mix of indifference, greed, and intellectual blindness. The book teaches us that when everyone is making money, no one wants to ask the hard questions. It reminds us that hell is empty, not because the demons left, but because we invited them into our boardrooms and our banks. Thank you for joining me for this deep dive into the hidden history of the 2008 crisis. If you want to understand why our economy looks the way it does today, this is a must-read. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more breakdowns of the books that explain our world. Who do you think was the biggest devil in this story? Was it the banks, the regulators, or the rating agencies? Let's discuss in the comments below. Until next time, keep your eyes on the numbers and your heart on the truth. Goodbye.